Thank you, Reverend. Good morning.
Well, Senator Okorocha, why do you want to be a president of Nigeria? What do you have to offer? Let's start from there.
Well, I want to bring to bear leadership, visionary leadership, to lead our country to greatness. And you might ask, why do I want to continue running for this office? As you have catalogued earlier, I ran for president first time in 2003. I ran for president again 2007. That saw me came second to President Yar'Adua of blessed memory. Then I came back to APC. But one question would be, why am I every time coming out for this position? I feel I have what it takes to make this country great. So it's that passion and that vision in me that is driving me constantly to offer myself to serve my fatherland. What do I have different? If you look at the mood of the nation now, the mood of Nigerian nation, you'll find out that some of the threatening issues we have is economic issues. We have unity issues, as many people are calling for separation, division, and we have poverty issues. These are major things. They're all linked somehow, but these are two major things. And I see myself as someone who qualifies to address these issues first. And I'm talking about my track record. Issue of unity of this country is bothering so much. Nigerians are looking for that single Nigerian leader who can give everyone a sense of belonging. And when I say I can unite Nigeria, I'm not saying I will. I'm saying I've done that. There's no part of this country you can go without seeing my presence or my signature or my impact. And if I don't love this country all, irrespective of tribe or religion, you cannot see me in Southwest, in Northeast, in North Central, Southwest, South, Southeast. I'm everywhere. Which shows that I'm not saying to Nigeria, I will, something I've done through my track record. The other point we're talking about is who actually has a compassionate heart that can listen to the poor, the needy, the indigent, the poverty situation. I think I have ears to these people. I have a compassionate heart. I think I can address these issues. And then the major one is the economic problem. Who can create wealth? Who can restore our middle class? Who can manage the resources of our land? Because we are blessed. Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria is not cursed. And I think it takes a person with business acumen, which I have, is quantum, to address the economic challenge of this country, to be able to create wealth. Because the problem of Nigeria is wealth. If Nigeria has enough wealth and create job for people and everybody's fine, you have all these insurgents, you have all this outcry for separation. Where poverty exists, sentiments of tribalism appears and separation is the order of the day. So these are some of the things that I looked at. I'm not just coming to run for president for running sake, and definitely not. So, yes.
Right. We'll definitely be looking into a lot of the points that you raised in that rather rousing declaration of yours, and also your track record in your 8-year stewardship of Imo State. But first, let's dispense with the fraud charges filed against you by EFCC just hours after your declaration to the tune of 2.9 billion naira. I'd like you to address that first of all.
My brother, I'm going to address it.
Thank you. This issue of EFCC is becoming a recurring decimal, and it's something that sometimes I keep wondering what is really happening, because though I have not been served, I'm not aware of this charge. I heard it only from social media or television yesterday, but I never had, nobody has ever served me to say, look, you have a 2.9 million, 2.9 billion, and they say I'm doing that with one Mr. Nigeria and one must have connived. So if that is 2.9 billion, I'm sure we'll be sharing it. I might be having 1.5, for as a senior, you will have 1.4. I don't know what this money meant. I'm taken aback, really. I'm shocked at this kind of presentation And that's why I'm quick to agree with those who tell me that this is politically motivated, Why even on the day that I'm swearing in, why do you bring all these things to cause distraction? Since the past 2 years, probably I have suffered so much of humiliations and hate more than anyone in the history of Nigeria. And it's something I could catalog. But let me come straight to EFCC. It's not true. Rather, what I have with EFCC right now is that I have a judgment, an order against EFCC from Federal High Court Abuja. Till today, as I speak to you, EFCC have not obeyed that. They have not. Rather, they asked the judge to recuse himself or to resign from the case so that they can achieve whatever is the desperation. Again, I have another judgment against EFCC from Port Harcourt High Court. Again, EFCC have refused to obey that order, all based on my human rights and administration of Imo State, and which ordered them to stop my harassment and stop everything, all this kind of thing they do with me, arresting me at will and all that. Yes, EFCC went back to the same court asking the judge to recuse himself or resign from the case. In other words, whenever I get judgment against EFCC, it's abnormal. Until the day EFCC gets a judgment against me, then it will be normal. Then the judge will be a good judge. I see some kind of intimidation going on, and this shouldn't be allowed to happen in this our present time. It's not good for the history of that, and whoever is behind this. And I think EFCC somebody is doing this and acting on behind and asking EFCC to do this. And yes, it's clear that it's to rubbish my image or rubbish me for this 2023 presidential election, but I don't think they will succeed because the truth will be spoken. What shocks me actually is the manner in which EFCC deals with the judges when it comes to matters like this or concerns me. I'm so shocked. And when this has happened to somebody like us, I don't know what is the fate of ordinary people. But going straight to the point I'm saying, before I had it was 70 billion, you may remember. Secondly, last time, EFCC published 5.9 billion Rochas recovered from Rochas account. I challenge EFCC, if you are saying the truth as a financial crime, show me a proof. Till that day is silence. EFCC never said a word again. And now they have reduced it to 2.9 billion. If it's 2.9 billion that, if EFCC want money from me at all costs, or want to get, I don't know what it is, I wish it's money.
My brother is rich, you give them.
Because I speak to you now, even the government of Nigeria, if I say how much I'm being owed by the government of Nigeria, it will be something that is. So I am Rochas before becoming a governor. And anybody can go to my conduct bureau file and check who I was and the assets I had before becoming governor. And then check my assets now, what I have after becoming governor, and see whether governorship made me richer or made me poorer. So I don't know why Nigerians like it's diversionary. Let me say this, diversionary. But again, this is APC, this is EFCC under Buhari government, this is Rochas that is the leader of the APC. I'm tired. I can't even speak out my mind before I'm seen as somebody who is fighting a government that I'm part of. So my hands are tied. But I'm just delivering my declaration, and when all over social media, Rochas and EFCC, and nobody have served me. Nobody have served me anything. 2.9 billion. So it's been one drama or the other. And if you have a little time for me, I would. I don't know. Go ahead. Maybe I can answer questions.
We'll get to all those issues. But you raised a point now about assets that you have. And you've been quoted as saying that in fact the Imo State government is owing you about 8 billion naira in security votes. And that before becoming governor, you were richer than the Imo State government. Now this morning, you just added to it that even the Nigerian government is owing you money. So these assets you talk about, what are these assets? And where did the money come from? In the re-amended electoral bill, you require about 5 billion to run for president. You sound like you have that money. Money is not a problem. What do you think about
my brother is rich? My brother is rich.
Why do you consider yourself richer than Nigeria? That Nigeria now owes you money. Imo State also owes you money.
My brother.
Okay, let me come to that, Ruben, about to correct it. I didn't say I'm richer than Nigeria. Nobody can be richer than a nation. And let me go to Imo State. For my 8 years in office as a governor, I never took one dime as security vote.
Oh, yeah.
I never bought any car, official car for myself.
Oh.
And I never spent government money in feeding myself and my family. That might shock you because I didn't need it. So this is verifiable. I mean, this is it. But again, when I said the government is owing me, I'm right about it. But at the appropriate time, I'll make that known if there's actually absolute need for it. But like I said, I'm a leader in this government, and I do not want to be seen to be fighting a government that I'm part of, or I'm seen to be cascading government I'm part of, because most of this is happening. I can assure you very well that the leader of this country, President Muhammad Buhari, may not be aware of it. That's my conviction. And there are some certain people from my state, and people pushing all this in to see that I'm down at all costs. If you're asking for my source of wealth, or my properties, if I have to enumerate them now, I don't know whether I have all the time, but I can if you want. And I said to you, go for investigative journalism, go to the conduct bureaus, look at the files and see the properties I have and where they are located and what I have now. That's a simple way to prove it. My account is open. No, there's nothing hidden. But to say that my source of wealth, of course, I made wealth through the real estate. You can't talk about Abuja real estate without talking about Rochas in the time past. I made my fortune through this fleet vehicle sales. If you recall, I supplied the 1,000 Land Cruiser Jeep Prado to the Nigerian police, and that of pickup through Square then. So my source of wealth is not anything hidden. I think I count it a blessing of God. And I couldn't have been running the Rochas Foundation with over 25,000 children if I didn't have resources. And I didn't just start it because I became governor. This has exceeded 24 years ago. And I have over 6,000 graduates now, lawyers, doctors. So I can't be hungry in my life anymore. If I ask my children I brought up to say, listen, please take care of your father, they should have to take care of me. And I'm talking about Hausas, Igbos, Yoruba, Fulani, Efik. Listen, gentlemen, I don't know why this country hates, some people just hate progress. I've come to offer myself to run for this office. I'm not doing so for the profit of the job. I'm doing so for the glory of the job. I'm not doing so because I'm looking for wealth or looking for fame. God has blessed me. I'm blessed, and maybe that attracts hate for me for some reason. Asking me whether Imo State government owe me, Imo State government do owe me. And another question you could ask would be my performance in Imo State. Of course, there's so much of gossip that go on. We've been able to find out that there are 39 young men in Imo State that are paid by the government to just keep writing rubbish on social media, and they've opened about 5,000 accounts and write everything about Rochas. Just is their job. And some of them have come back to say, look, they can't do this anymore, that's not good. I mean, this is what you have. But in the true sense, just to summarize what I've done in Imo State, as you ask more questions, ask them who introduced free education the first time in the history of Imo State with such many resources, and it lasts for 8 years from primary, secondary to university.
That's correct.
Rochas did that. I had more schools built than in the history of that state. I have more hospitals built than in the history of that state. I built the first cargo airport, the police headquarters, the best, the prison command headquarters, the best government house. In fact, some of my project is the one the present government is recommissioning, unfortunately. And Ruben, I've always argued with you people as journalists. Can you always make out time to go for investigation yourself and come back? If you come back, you will ever not receive any single paper from anybody from Imo State asking you to ask this kind of questions.
All right. But since you're running for president of Nigeria, I do believe those questions are in order, Senator. I have two questions for you. You spoke a lot about the youth in your speech declaring your intention to run for president, and you had a successful Youth Must Work program as governor of Imo State. How do you plan to expand that across the country and deal with the problem of unemployment? That's my first question. But since you mentioned in your previous response the issue of feeding yourself, I'm going to ask you a second question about one of your controversies as governor of Imo State when you appointed your sister as Commissioner for Happiness and Couples Fulfillment, I believe she was called, and also Deputy Chief of Staff to you, the governor in charge of domestic affairs and feeding. That was criticized as being nepotistic, and also the issue of over-bloating of government. How will you ensure that Nigerians can trust you to create the meritocracy that we deserve?
My brother, give her the answer she needs.
Well, some of this your question makes me laugh, really. And it's good for a good morning laugh.
I know.
Let me take from the one you've asked. And the first one you said is about
my brother.
The Ministry of Happiness. Before I go back to the one of feeding myself. You see, ministry, let me put it this way. The entire constitution of mankind, not often of Nigeria, is to guarantee happiness to the people that you govern. And one of the problems that we have today in Nigeria is issue of happiness. That most people are not happy, and that's why we think that we have problem in Nigeria. People are happy, you can't talk about problem in Nigeria. And when you talk about happiness, people think happiness is pepper soup, going to joint, going to disco, or traveling, or marrying many wives. Nigeria, sometimes some of these people have very, very funny mentality. We are talking about the guaranteed happy state of mind of the people that you govern. And our Ministry of Happiness was the first ever ministry introduced that actually worked and took care of the citizenry. One, it listens to the poor. It deals with the matters that concern the poor, the wretched, the needy, the widows.
Oh.
And engaging them to see how we can help them out and solve their problems.
Oh.
It helps with people who have been oppressed. If you are from Imo State or some of this part of this country, you know that at every weekend, a big man somewhere, because of how mighty he is, will see somebody that he does not like, a young man on the street, and take him to police, and they will lock the man up there. From there, he will go to prison without case being had. If you go to Nigerian prisons today, you see that there are many people whose case has never been had for 20 years, 30 years, languishing in prison. This ministry addresses that and to guarantee people's happiness. And that is what some of the men never liked. And the issue of guidance and counseling, to be able to guide young men, youths, women on what life is all about. People are not asking you for money, really. They're asking you to impact on their knowledge that they too can take care of themselves. So that ministry was an awesome ministry. And I said to all of them that before you engage in any project, be it Ministry of Agriculture, Works, or anything, you must first and foremost check the level of happiness it will guarantee to the people that you govern. Or such a project is worthless. This is what, and that's what brought about Youth Must Work. In the case of Youth Must Work, it was an ingenuity on the side of Rescue Mission government. And that's why you saw what is called absolute security and peace during my 8 years in office. Because young men must be engaged. Where you do not engage the young men to work, that energy can be extracted negatively if there's no positive thing to it. That's why I say armed robbery, criminalities, rape, and all that. Because these are young men, they are full of energy. What are they using the energy for in Nigeria? That's the question you should ask. So I made it compulsory that every youth must work. And look at the idea that we had. One, we said to them, listen, some of you will be teaching, even you will be teaching, some of you will be in security, some of you can even go and work in private companies and government can meet you up and pay you certain 10,000 naira, and their employer is a way of making the employer take them. We did all that. And the source took over 25,000 children or young men working in schools, in hospitals. And I introduced another thing that you didn't know, what is called volunteerism, where I brought the elder statesmen, when they are above 70 and retired principals, to go back to school to teach. Because we lack enough teachers. So go and make volunteer. And it kept them alive. I wasn't asking them to work because I was looking for teachers, but to keep them alive. Most of them languish in the village and die after retirement. So I introduced what's called volunteerism. That was how I governed Imo State, thinking outside the box. And I don't know whether you have a particular issue of appointing my sister as the commissioner. She was the deputy chief of staff that handles my domestic affairs. Domestic affairs does not mean food. Domestic affairs is more than food. Things that concerns me privately. She can walk into my bedroom. She can look at my clothing. She can look at my she can wake me up. She can do that. A lot of things was her job. It wasn't feeding. Even the feeding part of it also is money that I feed myself. So go and check Imo State record and see whether there's any day one bag of rice is bought from government fund. This is the mystery that they don't understand. I think I've answered the question, but there's one more question you did ask about how I'm going to handle doing that to be in Nigeria. If you listen to my speech yesterday, it was very clear. I said white-collar jobs should constitute an infinitesimal part of our employment strategy. That the best way to govern a society is to allow them to govern themselves. The best way to engage the youth is allow them to discover their talent and use it for the development of their nation. The government can never afford to employ everybody. And that's what I did in Imo when I introduced Imo College of Advanced Professional Studies. In other words, if you have finished your university, spend 6 months or 1 year and learn about underground water welding, learn about computer, learn this something that can equip you. Do you know Shell took some of my children and I was getting more than 500,000 naira a month because for underground water welding they learned. I brought people from South Africa, from Irish to teach these children. Listen, there's job in this country. There's no reason why any young man cannot work in this country. There's just no reason. It's just that because we have not, worked it out for them to understand.
Our leaders are not even working towards creating jobs.
Senator, so many questions to ask you. First, let me ask you, what's your relationship with the...
Please, take your time. Give me 2 hours.
My brother is ready.
No, we can't afford to do that.
Mr. Ruben, bring it up.
Please.
Do that time now. But what's your relationship with the current
This is
governor
coming from
of,
Arise
Imo State,
News.
Uzodimma, that's one.
So, most of
You were
Nigeria is
quoted as
lifting it
saying
from Arise News.
that there is nothing called police brutality in Nigeria, and which is your response to a question elsewhere about the 2020 NSAS protest. And you really, in good confidence, say there is nothing like police brutality in Nigeria, and if we were to become president, is there a way of saying Nigeria does not need police reform because young men can just go out there and fight each other? 2 questions.
Now, my relationship with the governor of Imo State. Quite frankly to you, Ruben, really, I just don't know. I think the young man just hates me for whatever it is. I'm here to know what's the reason. He just hates and some level of envy because what will be my relationship? I won't be governor again. What will be my relationship? I'm not going to run for Senate again. What will be my relationship? I'm not in the state to occupy his space. What will be what is it that the gentleman have seen? I think if there's anything which you also have achieved was the person who defeated him in primaries, Uche Mosu. And defeated him in primaries, he took it by force. Defeated him in the main election, he took it by technicalities. After coming number 4, is the same person fighting. I don't know what he's fighting. Let's leave that thing for the side. But all that is happening, whether EFCC or this, is all emanating from my home, my village. It's not coming from Adamawa or Sokoto or Kaduna or Lagos or anywhere. It's coming from my home, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. If you recall what has just happened to where my son-in-law Uche Mosu was abducted by the Nigerian police that assigned to government house. It was at the instruction of the governor. He even arranged for a private jet to take the young man. But look at the humiliation. That the young man was undressed, naked, and handcuffed just to disgrace him. The same government of Imo State went and took my wife's property, and EFCC had taken over, and they're taking over for a case that has never been established or no court. And now, if you go to the hotel now, they remove all the AC, the beds, the roof, everything, vandalized. Now, in the same venue, they shot one of my other in-laws, married my daughter, scattered his leg. The young man was in America for 6 months. Now, they went to the church and abducted Uche Nwosu and pushed down my wife, and pushed down, as a man living, and pushed down my daughter. This is what the governor has been doing. And he went back and sealed the Rochas Foundation College, where you have poor children, children of widows going to school. You sealed it. What's the reason? Not that you trace government money to it, but that the governor allocated the land to himself to build a school for poor children that you could not train. You went to the university, Rochas Foundation, Eastern Park University, built by Rochas Foundation. You went there and took over the school by force and drove away all the children of Nigeria from Rochas Foundation, from Kano, from Ibadan, all of them wandering on the street. And nobody is talking in this country. Even the Uche Nwosu's case. I want to thank the Special General of Police for the effort he has made. But the last time I saw the Special General of Police, he said he had sent this report to Villa. But I'm sure within that Villa, that will be the obituary of that case, and nobody will talk about it. This is not fair. It's bad. It's evil, and must be condemned. And every day, and in the course of this, look at the high level of insecurity, worse than it has ever happened. Look at the killing of Gulag. Look at 140 bodies at FMC. Poor people being killed here and there. So I don't know. I think the governor has his issue, and with those that he's working with here who are helping him in some of the areas, because you need to hear him boast in Imo State. I have the police at my pocket. I have the judiciary. I can do whatever I want in this country. Presidency is supporting me. You don't rule people by intimidation, inviting the army to go and shoot your people in Olu and everything. That is not good. Excuse me. It's evil and must be condemned. And that's one of the issues I want to address in 2023. That injustice must never be allowed. So, and that's exactly what you said. So I've gone into the other question, the second question, which is on, what do you say again?
Police brutality. You say there's no police brutality.
Police brutality. Police brutality. You have to listen to me. You see, I said to you that what you have is young men brutalizing young men. Let me ask you a question, Robert Abati. You can talk about police brutality in America, where the American black claims that they are being brutalized because of color, because of where they come from. You don't hear police brutality between white and white police. It's white and the black police. That's what we'll be hearing. But in Nigeria, we just carry that term, police brutality. You can say police